how do you have a great romance and then actually carry it? How do you have a great romance and actually continue it in such a way that it's still interesting to the audience, right? How do you have that? How do you have that? Shit, I don't know, right? Right? For a lot of writers, it's like, man, I don't know, but usually it's okay. Okay, so I don't know, but one way that I've seen, one way that I've seen it done is that, okay, create an external conflict, create an external conflict between the two lovers, so that they don't get to enjoy their relationship. Now they're arguing over something so stupid. All you would need to do to solve this is have them sit down and actually talk about it, right? Like imagine having your two characters, just sit down and talk about it, right? Like imagine how quickly it will be solved. But like, of course, you don't want that. You want to drag it out as long as possible. This freaking excruciating train wreck. It's like why can't you just let them be happy? Oh, because that's boring, man. That's boring. Happiness is boring, right? It's like, no, happiness is not boring. You just don't know how to do it, right? It's not boring. Okay, well, to be fair, happiness is pretty boring, but like, you can still have two characters be happy, and and be happy together, despite them going through difficult circumstances. It's like that's how life is, man. That's how life is, right? Yeah, but like, I think the most atrocious way is to contrive some sort of external. It's not that external conflict is inherently bad, but like, there is you can put it on a scale. You can put it on a scale of, okay, this is good, this is like mediocre, right? And one way to do that is, again, to have like a, right, like you have them argue when they really can. They could just talk it out like normal people. Like, if you can imagine how that would go in real life, it's like, okay, these people are gonna talk about this, right? They'll sit down, if they want to stay together, right? They'll sit down, they'll talk about it. Say, okay, why are you lying to me? Why are you lying to me? Right? Why are you lying to me? Right? So something like that. It's like, look, I'm not even gonna do a guy voice. It's like, right? I'm a guy, right? I'm not even gonna do a voice. Yeah, it's like, why are you lying to me? Okay, this is the reason I'm lying to you. And okay, maybe I'm not gonna tell you exactly why, but I want you to trust me. I need you to trust me. This is like a life or death situation. It's like, especially like, it's stupid, especially when it's like, maybe like the guy's like keeping a secret, and it's actually for a good reason. Like, the audience knows it's for a good reason, but the female character doesn't really know anything about it. So like, it makes them look bad. It's just like, why don't you just trust them? It's like, yeah, to be honest, it's like, okay, she looks bad, but like, he's not being fair either, right? Maybe he's asking a little bit too much, right? So like, a common issue there, it's like, making the female character look bad, for demanding questions, to, maybe when she should have a little bit more faith. And another way is like, for the guy, it's like, bro, why don't you just tell her? Why don't you just tell her the problem? Why don't you, maybe, like, I don't know. It's like, something so simple ends up being dragged out for like a whole season. As much as I'm dragging this very point myself. Right. So I think that's a problem there. It's like creating unnecessary conflict, right? Unnecessary external conflict. It's not specific to external. Okay, well, here's another external thing, like another external conflict that a writer may create to sort of placate, or to sort of try to have like a romance continue on, right? Like, they may have them. This is the lesser evil, I would say, right? This isn't as bad. It's more like, okay, so like, they still love each other, but something comes between them that they have to separate. It's like, okay, and this situation also, this is not a good example. This is like one of those annoying examples, right? But like, it's not as bad. It's like, at least they're not mad at each other, right, over like stupid reasons. It's like, okay, something came between them. Like, maybe this guy, he has to go back in time, and she can't come with him, right, or something like that. He has to be light years away. like his job, like he's barely at home. He works hard. He works like it's like look, freaking 9 to 5. He works a 9 to 5. He's not there. He's not there for her, and it's like she loves him. She wants to share the love with him. She wants to build a home with him, a family, but he's just not there. He's just never there. It's like, yeah, it just hurts, but like they still love each other, but like it hurts, right? Yeah, so like that's less atrocious. It's like some external forces are separating the two, the two lovers, but things are more or less intact. So that's not so bad. But like again, like the point is to have something. The point is to have your cake and eat it too, right? It's like, yeah, the saying is you don't get to eat your cake. You don't get to have your cake and eat it too, but man, yeah, I want to eat my cake, man. I want to have my cake and eat it. Like, why can't I? Right? Like, I'm making all this shit up, man. Like, yeah, I'm gonna eat my cake, man. I'm gonna make my cake and eat it too, right? It's like, no, bro, this is fiction. I'm making this shit up, right? Like, I will do exactly that, right? So like, I think, huh? do I know how to fix this? Do I know how to fix this? Yeah, I think it's I think I have an idea, sort of, right? It's like another fundamental issue actually is that this is actually okay, so like a way to fix this is that you must have each individual character interesting in their own way, right? You have to have them interesting, right? Like, let's give the example of Toka, Kaneki and Toka, right? Like, everyone likes Kaneki, right? He's like the freaking edgelord, right? He didn't start out like that, but Kaneki is pretty edgy, right? And he's like a cool protagonist. He's a cool protagonist, right? And Toka, she was like spunky. She was a spunky girl. She was, I guess, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't say she was quirky. She was pretty edgy too, right? Like, they had a good dynamic there. Not so much when she was stuffing human flesh down his mouth. But when she warmed up to him a little bit, right? The issue I have, like, I think I like how that. Dude, this is another shonen. Okay, to be fair, it wasn't so bad, but the issue with Kaneki, with Toka and Kaneki, or at least as I feel, is that when they got together, Toka, you can call it character development, but I think Toka was reduced to a lesser character than when she wasn't in love with Kaneki, right? Like, you may disagree with this example, but like, I think there's plenty of instances where like the female character is a lot more interesting before she gets with the male character, because like a part of the reason why that happens is that now the author doesn't know what the hell to do with this character, right? So now they're gonna mellow them out, right? Now, like, this character barely has any dialogue. Like, their sole purpose is to serve, the male, right? And this is not a criticism on, like, this is not a some gender identity criticism, right? This is like, this is founded on. This is basically, I consume a lot of male-oriented stories, and so this is how it is. But like, this is the reverse, even for a show that is female-oriented, like that's female-centered, right? It's actually more awkward in that way, because there's so many stories that are male-focused that, like, when I see it happening in a female-driven story, it's just awkward. It's like it's like, so like, this dude, this freaking, like, who's the man in the relationship here, right? Like, this freaking girl, she gets with this guy, and then the romance is over, and then he takes like a freaking back seat. He's like supporting her, right? He's like he takes the back seat. He's not as interesting. He's not as charming as as he was initially founded, right? He just takes a back seat, and I think it's most awkward when it happens to a guy, right? Because like, like there's the masculine role. I suppose that's an issue. That's an issue in female-oriented stories, right? On an issue on the other end of the other end of the coin, where like the female, where like the male is basically, it's like you think this is like, well, in any case, it's like it's the same issue, right? It's the same issue because like the female doesn't want, like the writer doesn't want the female to look lesser, right? There's that insecurity, there's that famous thinking where it's like, okay, I don't want to devalue the power of the female character, so I'm going to make this guy less dominant than he's supposed to be. But like women don't even like that, dude. Women don't like that. It's like you're going to devalue the masculine role. You're going to devalue the masculine role, because you don't want him to look more dominant than the female character who's supposed to run the show. It's like that's like a complete denial of, it's a denial of real life, to be honest. It's a denial of real life, and I think it should be something you take up as, if you're trying to imitate life, it should be something you take up as a challenge, right? Because that is how it is in real life, In most heterosexual relationships, the male is dominant, and the female is the male is dominant and the female is oppositely, it's, you could say, passive, right? Not necessarily, but it's like, a man wants to be dominant, and a woman would like that a man is dominant. Like if you're like a heterosexual female, this is as my understanding of heterosexual females, this is true, right? It's like a woman enjoys being a woman and a man enjoys being a man, right? And each, when two heterosexuals get together, these things they delight in. It's like, yeah, I'm going to be, it's like I will be. We can continue this and sustain it for as long as we can if you allow me to be what I am, and also if I'm okay with who you are, right? It's like that entire thing. So like the problem exists on both ends, right? Where on the male side, it's like the woman is, it's like, I think it is most damning where, because there's so many male-centered stories, right? It is quite, it's a very disappointing thing where like the female character takes like a back burner, or she's not as important, or she's killed off to facilitate the progress of the male character, right? Like it's very disappointing, right? It's a very disappointing thing, right? It's like you've done a lot of things that are great in this work, in this story, in this fiction, in this work of art. Like you've done a lot of great things in this. I really enjoy the story, but like in this one aspect, you've fallen short. And it's a very easy thing to fall short of. It's very easy to fall short in this department. And so like, yes, back to the solution. I would say, well, in any case, I've already said the solution, right? Like you want it to be that each character is an individual of their own, right? Like it all falls apart when you stop considering that, right? It's like how are you treating your how are you treating your male character, right? A character with a voice, an active character, a character who gets things done, right? How are you treating your side characters, right? Yeah, exactly the same way, more or less, right? It's the same idea. They have arcs, right? It's like the issue comes when there ceases to be an arc. Well, that's actually a secondary issue. It's like either there is an arc and the arc is unnecessary,